Hello there, this is Marcio Gali, and this is another episode of Coding with Agents or Culture Coding with Agents. Series of reflections, moments from the routine of a builder, a developer. All right. And today, the case that I have here is about trying to understand the project that I'm working on. But this is not like I feel it's important, but it's not a project that is, generally a priority. Okay. And because of that, bringing the context is one thing important. How you pull the context, the visual context, right? If I just open a text editor, what is this, right? That's a complication, right? And I do have screens, all right? Something like this. And this is helping me to some extent, but I don't think it's there yet. You haven't seen nothing yet. That's something that we should be paying attention. So I'm going to start, you know, I'm trying to give you a general idea of, all right, let's go back to that project. What I was doing, I don't remember, but, right? So here, one point that I make is for us is to think about the garage, right? Think about a garage, think about a coffee lab, right? The arrangement, the things that you put in a physical location, it helps you with the context, right? Like the post-its. I remember I had this joke when I was doing a acceleration um, program with an accelerator in Brazil. And like all the startup teams, they have the post-its there and with the in the canvas, right? So the joke, and then no, next day you're there, next week, right? The whole room is full of structures in the visual space, right? And then I was like, imagine, right? Next week before the teams appear, right? You go there and the joke was always let's switch the post-its here, right? From the value proposition to some area, like it changed the whole startup, right? Bad news for the team. Worst news is when the startup gets better. All right. Anyway, visual things matter. Post-its. All right. Now, what is this that I was working? Fetch by week. I know it's a project called Meeting Bro. And by the way, I tell you, this I know. This I'm like this is hunting me. This idea. Okay, it's been like 4 or 5 years more. Meetings. It's an idea called meetings, right? And many people they don't get it when I talk about this because then they ask me, "Oh, it's a system for meetings, so you meet with others?" No, no, there's no others. It's called meetings. I do a meeting with myself, and no one that I talk accepts that. And I keep telling everyone that you're doing that already, and you're thinking they're doing meetings with others. Anyway, that's not the point. But the point is, it's a self meeting. Okay, all right. It has also a connection with the idea of the TPS report. If you don't know the reference, there is the movie Office Space. Okay, like the time tracking thing. All right. In a prior iteration of this project 4 years ago, I had a concept after working a working meeting. a self meeting, self working moment. I had the concept of you got to write an executive summary of what you just did in the end. And then, of course, when you gonna work again in that same project, you got to read the executive summary of the last meeting. So it's really a system for advancing episodes of work, right? Okay, in a given season. And the idea of season here is the competitor to Netflix, right? It's like working seasons. So you got to create your spaces to help you out, right? Anyway, so if Netflix, Reed Hastings says the major competitor of Netflix is sleep, and then I say a major competitor of work is Netflix. All right. What is this? Fetch by week. I see I have two meetings on the left hand side examples, and I can view them. Then it loads something on the right hand side here, okay, in this panel, the red panel there. Then so if I pick the other QA something in view, see it changed it there, right? Um, one other concept. There's something here, meeting session console, okay? Meeting session console. This thing, wait, let me move my camera out of the, oops, wait, put it here. Check it out, production value there, right? Meeting session console, right, is this thing there, right here. And it gives me the option of, like check, started to work, and then later check, I'm not working anymore. But then I'm trying to attach things to that meeting, okay? I'll give you an example. What do I want to attach to the meeting? Here, yes, a shell, all right? See, I want to attach a shell to the meeting. You see, like right now, it's not attaching. And I also have on the left hand side at the bottom. So all that I'm doing here now, I'm not demoing you the system, right? I'm making um, raising my attention, bringing up the context, right? It's a meditation style moment, right? Whoa, what was that thing? Let's read the post-its, right? Let's go through the use cases. So see, on the left hand side, I have the seasons. I know I've seen that I can dump the season. What is that? Refresh seasons. Season called ZZZ. I need better, right, titles. This is time. This is the moment now where everything we do, because I came from the days where the titles are like, I don't know, Uga, something like that, right? We need better titles now. This is like different. Okay, so I have seasons, I have meetings. I can fetch meetings by week. I can view the meetings and update there on the right hand side, and I can see that some of these meetings, for example, this meeting QA, apologies for the title, under the season ZZZ. Uh, it's this meeting comes with three pings. Oh wait, I'm in front of the panel with three pings. Okay, I have a problem with my the visual effect there is not really moving towards the element that we want. Okay, three pings there: May, to Google Calendar, and run. Okay, right. That's something. That is something. Now, should we do something here or not? I think I might be able to because when you try to manipulate the system, you're also trying to understand the system, right? Can I do that? If I can't do that, because it may need some refactoring. So I'm gonna wander here today, right? You know, you know. Um, so let me zoom there, all right? And you know, we have that main panel navigator with the sidebars. Sidebars. The last episode, I we I did some documentation. I remember about the I did a memo creating the concept of sidebar stack. Sidebar stack is the thing that where I can put all the sidebars one next to each other. I don't know yet the correct arrangement. Okay, all right. Now, so going back to the editor, we have that main panel navigation with sidebars. The sidebars. We did that in episode 100. Check the readme. Now, let us do a 110 episode here. This is interesting because I kind of using the same model that I'm trying to model with the with the in this narrative here. I don't know. Let us do a 110 episode here. I am thinking if it is possible for a let's go back to the visuals, right? By the way, there is a situation, okay, where I caught myself doing this, right? I start recording with the microphone. Okay, I wonder if it is possible for us in the context of the seasons sidebar to list the meetings they are part of that season. You see that for each season within the section available seasons, we have the dump JSON action button there. And I'm wondering if we can list the meetings. For now, just like you open up a new panel entitled Season Dump under the panel Seasons, I'm wondering if we can open up a panel season episodes. All right. If that's possible, first do an analysis to see if we're ready for that. If we have a notion of seasons associated with the episodes, if we have an index there. If not, we may need, but I think we do have an index of items for the seasons, right? If that's so, that's easy. So after analysis, document that in the README memo 2025 November using today's date with the index 110 underscore listing meetings by season markdown, then define a short plan of action for updating, then execute the plan of action. That's it so far. Thank you very much. See, I'm not a native English speaker, right? And I have seen trouble coming from the statements with the narrative. And today it's another case where I don't really want to check the text. See, why would I check the text? Because if I'm working with others, they won't understand me anyway. So the point is probably that this is a point for us to mark this moment here in the video because I think the whole idea is to communicate better and to improve communication. All right, we have a system working for us there. hmm It's a small update, right? Because I realized that the actual seasons by ID in the database carry on the index when I was reading. Okay. All right. Meanwhile, I'm gonna get a coffee. Okay. I realized that when I asked to do analysis, right, the system may have, it's navigating around and there are many things, so maybe some unneeded activities there going on now. Something for us to be aware. Like when you're working, you need to somebody comes in or you realize that you need to focus on something, right? Focus, focus, focus. So I think for maybe that concept applies here for sure in certain case like and again, right, it is about which is about switching context and bringing up the context, right? There's this advice for focus, focus. Don't ask for a full analysis of the code. Maybe it should be already part of the conversation in a given moment, in different seasons, in different working sessions. Maybe the whole point is do the analysis, right? It looks like it is updating the the memo update inside the README. Again, right? This is a subject because when I communicated asking, do a memo, I was like giving words there, right? Assuming the system was aware about the README memo thing process here, right? On the left hand side. So that's not the case, right? So again, in some cases, you need context to these working sessions. READMEs is a context, right? The code is a kind of a prompt. READMEs are prompts. Documentation offers prompts. All right. So, okay, I'm going to today, I want to go straight to reloading the server system. All right. Let's see what we have here. Fetch by week, refresh seasons. Then I see, oh, wait. Yeah. Then I see there, now I do have episodes, right? Season episodes. One. Yep. That other, there's one episode there, right? It's really nice, right? Panels are difficult to navigate right there, sitting there. Fetch by week, fetch by seasons. All these things should be probably be placed above because in the end of the day, I want to see the list indeed, right, of the query because this is about search query, right? It's the query moment on the left hand side. Now I know that. See, I achieved a little bit of clarity there. Right? Now, should we document that? Maybe, right? Please. So again, right? Open another chat GPT session. Um, recording. All right. Could you please extract the section 110 listing from the README memo and actually create another README memo specifically for the this update 110, all right? Now, if possible, please, in the beginning of the README, make an index linking to the README memos and make also a point in terms of to-do activities for next things to do. Make a point that we now are thinking that the left-hand side sidebar it's mainly about querying the last meeting by week or by seasons. That's the purpose of that area. Just make that point so far because that may be the next working session. Okay, so basically that's going to be the next memo. All right, type there, right? Move Mars to here. Apologies for the visual system that is not really right navigating the camera towards the area that I want. Okay. So that's so far so good, you know. I wonder if we shall do that update on the left hand side because next time, right, I come back to this working project, maybe I'm gonna stay, with the visuals, it gives you the impression that you are in the same place that you were before. Right? So maybe it's interesting to refactor this left hand sidebar. But the README is there, the to do is there. That's something for us, right? So README, let's see the README. Let's see the link to the memos. To do, reaffirm the left-hand sidebar's purpose as the place to surface the most recent meeting lists by week or by season, refine flows around last meeting, look up. Last meeting is interesting. Yeah. So yeah, the left-hand side is the meeting navigator. It gives you visualizations of the general meetings. Yep, we do have a memo with 110 taken out of it, and it was smart enough to organize the title the way I wanted. This is really nice. I think this is enough for this session, at least for now. Thank you very much for helping, for reflecting, and being part of this conversation.